Oh, thank God. No! Oh. No!
Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg Podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our savage take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. All right, you guys. So before we jump into the episode,
oh God,
Daniel's gonna kill me.
I am
because I made a fatal mistake.
So Rose decided
if I go missing tonight.
Well, now I have nothing to stand on because I won't have an alibi because of this podcast. Rose decided mid-conversation with the Dalai Lama to turn off her microphone.
I did not mean to turn it off, but I guess I was like touching the mic and I accidentally pressed the off button. So I'm sorry if, in the middle of this episode, you're going to hear some bad audio coming from my direction while I was giving such a good speech.
I know you were on a roll.
I was on a fucking roll. Anyway, guys, so
I think it's because you're like a very hand talker and stuff, and you're very like this.
Am I very much like this? Anyway,
and you like to touch things while you're talking.
Anyway, guys, I do apologize. I do apologize for the audio error, but it does fix itself later.
It does, yeah.
Because we're gonna keep recording. So
yeah.
So it won't last forever, but just letting you know, I'm sorry. I will make sure that I try not to let it happen again.
Could happen again, though. It was funny, though, because Rose realized mid through and she was like, fuck!
I'm glad I realized it.
I know, me too.
Because we could have recorded the entire thing without knowing.
Oh.
But that's another reason why we should keep this thing on, Daniel. Mm-hmm. So that's another mistake coming from you.
Excuse me. Usually I go back and forth and usually I don't have to worry
guys,
about this anyway.
Let's get started with this episode. Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of the SaVeg Podcast.
Hello. How we doing? How you going?
What's the Australian accent today, Rose?
As if we don't do accents every single episode,
That's
Daniel.
very true. Very true. Welcome to the podcast if someone's new listening.
Yes.
For the first time ever.
We do annoying accents. Welcome. Guys, welcome back to another episode. We have a few patrons to thank.
We got 2 new patrons.
2 new patrons. Woo! So thank you so much to
Kat
and Tien. Pretty sure this is my friend Tien. Hi, Tien. I think it's my friend Tien.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's cute.
Joined. Thank you, Tien, for your support. Love you. No, I remember getting the email.
Yeah.
Because we get an email every time we get a new patron. And I was like, is this my friend?
I'm like,
I was like, no, but I feel like Tien.
It's a common name, right?
I thought it was a common Vietnamese name, but judging by her photo, I feel like that is her. If it's not Tien, my friend, well, thank you so much to Tien anyway.
And Rose, do tell us, what do the Patreons get in the Patreon community?
So our Patreon community, guys, if you join, the link is in the show notes or the description. And if you join, you get an episode, a bonus episode only for you every single month. Okay. So it is only exclusive to the patrons, and you get every episode ad-free and every episode a week before everyone else. So it is a fun little community, so make sure you join us. And we still have to do April, don't we?
Oh God, we do. And it's April 17th.
Lord Jesus. Guys, every month is going by way too fast.
It's just flying. It'd be flying.
Yeah, so last month we talked about the Cosmic Skeptic, who is a YouTuber. And he recently quit veganism, so we reacted to that, and I think a lot of people wanted to see a reaction.
They did.
So
they enjoyed that video.
So yeah, guys, make sure you join patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
And while we're doing our shameless plugs, also guys, if you haven't already, or if you're thinking about it in August, what's happening in August, Rose?
We are going to Thailand and Bali, and you guys are invited to join us. And actually, the Bali trip is almost full.
Oh, goddamn.
So, goddamn, guys. And yeah, there's limited spots, and we're going to be doing basically like a vegan food tour in both Thailand and Bali.
Yay, I'm
and
so stoked.
You get to hang out with us, and we're going to do some fun little activities and just travel together and eat together. And it's going to be so much fun. So, if you guys want to join us in Thailand and or in Bali, you can click the links again in the show notes or description, get all the details, and if you want to join, you can join.
Yeah, and the trips look really cool because not just like obviously the focus is around vegan food and stuff, but there's also a lot of like activities.
Oh
and
yeah,
things,
like it's not just about food,
Yeah.
but obviously food is important, but it's going to be like a whole bunch of fun little activities and cultural things. So it'll be really fun. So make sure you join us, and those links are in the description.
We need to book our flight soon.
Oh goddamn, Lord Jesus.
Lord Jesus, take the wheel. But yeah, that's gonna be exciting, guys. I can't wait. I haven't been back to Thailand for years, and I've never been to Bali. So
And it's been like over a decade for you, hasn't it?
exactly a decade.
God damn,
Because
Daniel.
the last time I was in Thailand was 2013, guys. So
Oh, it's such a fun place.
goddamn, when the last time you be in Thailand?
Last year.
Oh goddamn.
I know you don't know anything about my life, Daniel, even though
Well,
we have this podcast.
No, but you know what, Rose? You have been traveling a lot.
I've been traveling a lot.
I can't keep track anymore. It's like you're going here, you just went to Morocco.
I know.
Last year you went to was it last year you went to Israel, or was it the year before?
No, Israel was in 2020,
Yeah.
and then we didn't travel for a couple years.
Yeah.
Well, we traveled in like Canada, but does
Yeah.
that count as travel? No. And then last year I went to Thailand and Vietnam, on one of these things, on like the vegan food tour thing, and then I went to Korea as well.
Didn't you also go to London?
Well, London is just my second home, so.
Okay. That was last year. Then this year already, it's like Morocco. Are we allowed to say about the trip that's coming up in June?
Italy.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm also going to Italy.
Mm-hmm. Went to London again this year, and you're going to Thailand and Bali. Like,
Uh-huh.
God damn, Rose.
Living my best life, YOLO.
Yes, I'm jealous.
Yes. I mean, you're coming to about more than half of them.
That's
so.
true. That's very true. That's very true.
Anyway, guys, shall we jump into the stories?
We should. So
finally, a lot of stories this week.
I know there's a lot going on.
I don't think that's good news, because whenever there's stories, we don't ever talk about good stories.
It's true. Sometimes it's like, but I feel like we mix it up on this podcast.
There's doomsday stories, which Daniel loves to talk about.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about the C word today, Rose.
But you also like to talk about, how the world is collapsing due
Yeah.
to other reasons as well.
True.
Not just the C word.
To give positive energy to everyone,
But we also like to sprinkle in some not so serious stories, like pop culture stories. So yes. So the first story, what are we talking about first? Hold on one second.
I know you got the list.
I got the list. We're trying to organize our thoughts here because we both had stories we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And
I think the first story might be about your motherland, Roses.
oh God, we got another story from the motherland, which is South Korea.
Oh, God damn.
This place be crazy as hell.
What happened in South Korea? Tell us what happened in South Korea.
New news story. South Korea is paying $800 each month for lonely young people to re-enter society. AKA, they're paying people to socialize.
Can we get that in Canada, please? I'm a single person. I will re-enter society for $800 a month.
Some South Korean youth are so cut off from the world, the government is offering them to pay them to re-enter society.
Oh my God, that's actually so sad.
I know. The Ministry of Gender Equality and Family announced this week that it will provide up to, it's 800 New Zealand dollars, but I don't know. That's probably like what, 600 US dollars? That's my guess. I don't know how much New Zealand dollars is. I don't know if that's the same as Australian dollars.
I think it's a little bit less, but I don't actually know.
So 650,000 650,000 Korean won, which I feel like that would be, I don't know. Anyway. So, let's say, so they will provide them with this money per month to isolated social recluses in a bid to support their psychological and emotional stability and healthy growth. About 3.1% of Koreans aged 19 to 39 are reclusive, lonely young people. 3.1%, defined as living in a limited space in a state of being disconnected from the outside for more than a certain period of time and have noticeable difficulty in living a normal life. Okay, so this makes up about 338,000 people across the country. That's a lot of people.
That's insane.
Because 3% doesn't sound like a lot, but if you think about the amount of people that is, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And 40% beginning their isolation in adolescence, according to the ministry. Various factors are thought to be at play, including financial hardship, mental illness, family problems, or health challenges, blah, blah, blah. So the monthly allowance will be available to reclusive young people aged 9 to 24. God damn, what the hell is happening?
I don't know.
Okay, let me see here. But what's it for? Is it just to
I think it's probably money to encourage them to go out, right? So it's maybe they give them that as you need to be going out, you need to go spending on restaurants and going to events and being out and about.
Yeah, I want to see exactly. Hold on.
But it represents a wider issue, right? Like
Absolutely.
the fact is it's not just happening in South Korea, guys. Like
It's not.
We're
But
talking-
Korea is definitely worse.
Yeah, Korea has like an exacerbated problem.
Yes.
But we're seeing this more and more in the US, in Canada even, and a lot of these places because as our society, like we start to become more disconnected. I don't know. It's just happening. It just keeps happening.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is, issues with social media and being on your computer all the time.
Yes.
And not going outside and not doing a lot of these things. And it's bringing up more and more and more societal problems.
Yes.
And I think, obviously that's the Korean government's way of trying to like start to tackle this because
God, is that going to help though?
who knows?
I just feel like it's putting a Band-Aid on a much wider issue as
Yeah.
we're talking about because giving people money is not the problem. Like that's not really like I get maybe it'll help a little bit. And I'm saying at least they're doing something, but it's not getting to the root of the problem.
I think what governments across the world, guys, not just here, like not just in Korea, but I think one thing that they could look at, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, is starting to develop or establish like these third spaces or third places where
like we talked about before. Yeah.
where people can go. It's like a community space where you can kind of like go and connect with other people, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an establishment where you have to pay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe the government can have, instead of giving $800 per person, is start establishing some of these, use that money to establish these third places. And also look at city planning. I mean, Korea has less of an issue with this because Korea's already
It's a different
dense.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah. Korea's like super densely populated. But like here in North America, part of our problem why people are getting more isolated is because people are living out. They want to have the big house with like a huge backyard and their neighbors are like down the road. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be as social, right? Like
So basically everywhere has this social problem,
Yeah.
but for different reasons.
yeah. Because it's interesting. It's interesting that Korea has it because I always thought
Yes.
if you have a really densely populated area, naturally you're going to be more social. But if you think about it, if there's not a lot of these like third places,
Well, I don't think that's the reason in Korea. I think the reason in Korea, I mean, again, I'm just minimizing it.
so there's a lot of places that people can go there. They don't have to spend money and can all hang out in like a
Well,
community area.
as in there are, for example, like you spend a lot of time in school. We're talking about young people as well, right? We're talking about people that have access to schools and stuff where, when you're in school, you don't really like, I guess you do maybe need a third place, but you're socializing generally anyway.
At school.
But I think there's a few problems with, and there's a few problems with this because in Korea, it's like there's a lot of pressure, first of all, like social pressures. So like you have to be super fucking pretty. Like the beauty standards are beyond out of control.
Yeah.
So when people talk about beauty standards out like in North America, I just laugh because like, I mean, again, it doesn't mean it's not a problem here.
Yeah.
But in Korea, it's so much worse that it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if you're like not as pretty, you're going to maybe be bullied. You're not going to feel like you fit in, and you always have to conform to society. So you feel this like massive pressure to fit in. And so if you don't fit in, then you're a recluse potentially, or there's also pressure to be really, really smart. You have to be really good in school.
Yeah.
And again, if you're not, then you're not going to get into good schools. And again, you feel like a failure, and then you kind of maybe recluse.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very specific issue with Korea and also Japan. And of course, and then social media and like how everyone was on, they're very, technologically very advanced.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing.
No.
So, but you might be right, as in they're not actually meeting in person in
Yeah.
these places where we used to meet in person. So it's not
Exactly.
necessarily that, but there are so many ways
It's
for
a
people to
multitude of
interact.
issues.
Exactly.
It's a multitude. Like, because you think about it, even now, like, even if you look at like our high school experience, right? Like, what we did in high school, because like when we were in high school, we got the like old brick phones and shit. Like, you could maybe you could play like Snake on it and maybe text your friend.
Oh yeah, this is pre-smartphones.
We were pre-smartphones.
We were pre-smartphones.
We were pre-Instagram. We were pre-Facebook.
God damn, those were the days, dude.
We were pre a lot of stuff. So
I
like,
know, it's crazy.
So like I look back at like what I did in high school. It was like I was always going to friends' houses, like walking, going for walks, like
going to the mall,
going to the shopping mall, going to the movie theater together. Like we were doing these things because guess what?
Even though we live in fucking Canada.
Exactly. And I didn't have like nobody had smartphones. It wasn't around.
Yeah, that's true.
So but now the generation now, like I can't imagine what it's like because
oh my God, it's so bad.
They're just always on their phones and stuff.
It's really bad.
And they're saying because of people like texting and being on Instagram and abbreviating language and stuff, that kids are losing the ability or like the skills of like proper writing and stuff.
Oh my God.
Because they're like constantly like
you mean like
texting,
having
short
normal
form,
grammar?
Exactly. Having like good grammar, normal grammar. Like
that's
they say
scary.
that's like a dying
Well, you know what's
thing.
scary? Because I was like over the weekend, I was writing a birthday card. Okay. And every time I write now, actually with my hand, I'm realizing how bad my handwriting is.
Yeah.
Because I mean, not that my handwriting was ever that pretty.
Yeah.
But now it's like, it literally feels weird. Like it doesn't, it's a muscle I don't use.
Yeah, I barely write.
Right? Like this is a problem. Maybe I need to start writing. Like maybe I need to start journaling or something.
Journal, yeah.
Oh god damn it. Do I really want to write down all my fucking thoughts in my head? I don't know, man.
I don't want to read that. God damn.
Listen, I don't want to be Anne Frank, okay? Like, do you ever think about this? Like, if I have a fucking journal and then, like, you know, God forbid I, you know, deceased from this planet, people will be going through my shit.
Exactly.
Writing a fucking, you know.
Like, I don't want nobody. I don't want nobody
reading my fucking journal.
Exactly. I'm like, no, thank you.
Anyway, I mean, not that I have Anne Frank's story, but still.
Yeah.
Like, my girl was writing some intimate things in there.
Mm-hmm.
God damn. Like,
And now everyone knows it.
I mean, I guess it was an important story, but like,
it was, yeah.
you know, like, do we want the world to know all her inner thoughts? Anyway, so big issue. Once again, we talk about this all the time, and now it's not just a problem with children, but obviously with children, it's much worse because you know they're not fully developed yet.
Yeah.
But even with adults, I mean, we're also like tied to our phones.
Well, and also I'm even finding, even in the last like couple of years, I'm getting worse.
Oh my god,
like,
I'm so bad.
Focusing. Like I'll watch a movie and I'll have my phone. I'll be going through TikTok and stuff, and I'm like, what am I doing?
I know, it's the TikTok.
It's so bad.
It's
like
the TikTok
because it's like our brains can't focus.
I know.
Like, and if we continue to keep doing that, that's going to be a huge problem.
We're really fucked.
Yeah.
So I think like the biggest thing is filling your time by actually seeing other people.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing because when we're alone, we just look at our phones.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Or we can read and do other things. But I think the best thing to do is just spend time with more people as much as you can.
Yeah.
So we got to fill up our social calendar again, Daniel.
Oh, god damn. No time.
I'll be tired as hell.
Me too. Anyway, but yeah, that's,
Anyway,
I mean.
so South Korea paying people, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm wondering like what they are actually, like what they expect them to spend the money on, but I'm assuming, maybe
It must come with
going
conditions.
out, or maybe it's also because these people, it sounds like these people are maybe coming from low income backgrounds,
They have financial
which then
hardships.
again adds another layer of social isolation because you're embarrassed that you're low income. Again, lots of issues there. So yeah, like even just to go out and buy groceries, go out and talk to people, go out and socialize. I don't know. Fuck, that's so sad.
It is sad.
Because like when you're that age as well, it's natural for you to want to spend time with your friends.
Yes.
Right? That's all you ever really want to do.
Like some of my fondest memories are like, you know, when I was in my early 20s,
Right.
like going to university, like all the house parties we went
Yeah.
to and like backpacking and, you know, doing all this stuff with your friends. It's like,
I know.
that was like such a good time in my life.
I know. And that's crazy because when we were in university, that's when like maybe smartphones like started to come out.
It was just around that time.
But like I also didn't really have, I think I had a BlackBerry for a while.
Yeah.
And when I was like doing like exchange abroad, I only had like the dumb phones. Like I didn't have a smartphone because I would, at that time it was also hard to like switch your SIM card.
Yep.
Anyway, so I would get like a cheap fucking dumb phone when I was in Italy and stuff. And so every time we would travel, we would just like get to the city, go to somehow find the hostel.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we did it. Okay.
Well,
and
that's
then
like-
they give you a map.
Yeah. Well, that's like my very first trip. I did have a smartphone, but I had I had it on airplane mode. It was like, well, not my first
The
trip,
first iPhone?
It was like iPhone 4.
Oh.
Um,
Oh, your iPhone 4 that you had about 20 years.
Yeah. And I remember, but even then, so on my iPhone 4, what I had done is when I was backpacking, I got this Lonely Planet, I think it was, like travel guide or something.
Sure.
And it was like the travel guide for Central America. And this book was amazing. It was like, it had every city and then it would have like a map of the city and where all the hostels were.
That's cute.
And I literally would like, it was my Bible. Like,
Oh,
it-
do
and
you
I-
still have it?
I don't know. I think I lost it.
Daniels.
I know. It's a shame because like looking back, because half the hostels probably aren't even around anymore. Like,
I know,
do you know
right?
what I mean? Like,
But didn't you keep a journal?
I did, yeah.
See, that's cute.
So one thing I did on both my backpacking trips is I was not as diligent as I probably could have been, but I did keep a journal. And like me and one of my friends who I met through traveling, we had a Skype, like a couple, like it was probably last year or something. We did like a Skype date or whatever,
Sure.
had some wine and we like went through our journals, like
That's
read them to each
cute.
other. Like, obviously not everything, but like the parts where we like first met each other. And it was like, I had some notes around like how I thought about her the first time I met her and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like it was really cool.
So, if you ever, can I publish your journal?
Go for it. There's nothing that riveting in there, you know?
Oh God damn, Daniel. It won't be a bestseller?
No, I was an angel when I was traveling, you know? Not like now.
We'll see about that. Anyways, so that's the first story. Very, very sad.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll fix any problems, to be honest.
No.
But it might help some people at least. So next story is Daniel's story about Sam Smith.
Oh, goddamn. So the reason I wanted to bring up this Sam Smith story is I feel like it ties into so much stuff going on. And,
there's so much going on.
There is a lot of backlash.
People are fucking obsessed.
They are. And okay, so the reason I thought of this Sam Smith thing is I was on TikTok the other day and there was like a video of Sam Smith at his most recent concert, and he was wearing like these devil horns, and he was wearing like a corset with like thank you, Rose, with like nipple tassels and like basically like a G-string.
Oh god.
And he was like dancing, and he was like bent down at one point, and it was like full ass G-string everything, and I was just like, oh my god, what is going on? But people have gone wild.
Like they're angry.
Yeah. So apparently people are like slamming him on, like basically being like, this is grotesque. You're disgusting. They're also making fun of the fact that he's like uses they them pronouns now.
Oh, of course. That's the main reason they're calling him grotesque. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And
right.
It's funny because there's like a mixed camp about it, right?
Oh, okay.
A lot of people are being quite harsh, but some people are talking about, well, like we shouldn't, sex sells, right? And they're saying, well, why is it wrong for him to do that when we have women gyrating in thongs with like ass implants, like twerking, getting their butt cheeks to do all this kind of shit? No one says anything about that.
Well, there are people that say
people
things
do.
about that.
Yeah.
But yes, the main outrage is that it's a man.
Yeah.
Or he's non-binary.
Yeah.
And people feel very uncomfortable with that. And I'm like, where do these people get the time to give a shit?
I know.
Okay, listen, I follow Sam Smith on Instagram, and like, not my style. Okay,
yeah.
his new style ain't my style. Okay,
I know personally.
But do I care?
Yeah,
no.
Exactly. This is the thing. Personally, I do miss the era. Yes. I love that era of Sam Smith where he was like just like singing these amazing ballads.
The ballads
and, like,
were the best.
Oh, like I'm not the only one.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Like, won't you stay with me? Like that is the era of Sam Smith that I'm like
all the heartbreak songs.
Yeah, I'm like he's still so fucking talented. He's an amazing singer. Personally, that was this era I liked more. But you know what? Artists go through these things.
Yeah, and like who cares?
Exactly.
Let him it's him. Like let him do whatever he wants. I don't understand this backlash, this hatred. But again, it's because everyone is directing their hate at, they them, also trans people, and just like this. It's all the same.
Yeah, people are like literally. It's like I'm not seeing. It's like a nonstop thing. It's on my TikTok. It's on everything of people being like. I saw this one thing. I said to Rose earlier as well. There was like these drag queens that they came into a school and they were just talking to kids like we're talking right now, and they were just like asking them questions and just being like curious about them, and the kids were like giggling and laughing and stuff. And the comment section, guys, people went wild. They're like, you don't know the irreversible damage you've done to these children. You don't know like all of this other stuff.
What is the irreversible damage?
I know. And this is where I'm like, I'm like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like
again, it's because they think it's gross. That's literally what it is.
But it is, because like think about all of the other shit that we're okay with as a society, or maybe we're not, but it's less talked about than some of this stuff. It's like exposing kids to like, there's all this like gun violence. There's all this like harsh video games and crazy movies that are like R-rated and shit that kids are watching. Like, like this is the least of the concerns about kids having a drag queen like come to school and like read to them and stuff. Like, I don't know. I just don't get how anyone has this much time. I know.
Like, how do you care this much?
I guess where I struggle is like, people are saying, this is going to cause irreversible damage to their kids, right? But I'm like, what irreversible damage? Like, this is what I'm not understanding. Like, if your kid, like, let's say to their true self, they want to be a drag queen, actually, wouldn't this be beneficial for them?
Well, they don't think that, Daniel.
I know, of course not. But also,
they think that this is atrocious. It's an act against God.
Yeah.
They think it's disgusting. Yeah. And they're afraid that their kid is going to turn out that way.
Yeah. But I think the thing for me as well is like, another thing, like it's because it's I get so angry.
I'm so mad.
It's like if you have a gay guy or a lesbian or whoever, their kid's gonna turn out that way and blah 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 blah. And it's like, well, no, like that's I've had so many arguments with people.
God.
It's like it's not a choice. It's like it's what you're born with. And I know some people will disagree with me. I don't care. But my argument is like, even if a kid is not in the LGBTQ community,
yeah,
right? They're not going to go that way. They're not even inclined. if they're exposed to people within the community, don't you think as a society that we'll be in a better place? Because that's teaching kids acceptance, tolerance, learning about others that are different from them. And like personally,
But they don't want others that are different from them. That's the problem.
yeah, that's true. But it's like,
Like we're like, it makes sense to us.
yeah, because like honestly, like of course I don't want, like if my like 5-year-old's at the school, I don't really want somebody gyrating in a thong in their class. Like no, I would kind of have a problem with that, right? But if a drag queen was going to the school, like reading a book to them and stuff, I would actually appreciate that, because I'm like, if my kid turns out to be straight, gay, whatever they want to do, either way, you're teaching your kids acceptance and tolerance.
Absolutely.
And you're learning about others and other, it's the same, like, if you don't have like a diverse, teaching staff, or your kids aren't exposed to people from other cultures, that's also what stems like racism and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I also don't understand the Sam Smith thing, because he's not marketing toward children.
I think the argument was that people were saying there was kids at the show.
I don't give a fuck. There's kids at every fucking show.
I know.
Oh my God. People need to calm the fuck down. It's always about the children. They always use the children as an excuse.
Yeah. Well, this is the ironic thing, guys. Honestly, I have to like, when I watched that Jon Stewart interview,
Yes.
and honestly, the Republicans are so bad for doing this. They're like, we have to protect our kids.
Yeah.
Kids' safety is number one, and it's like, well. And I'm talking about the U.S. specifically, but like, what is doing more harm to kids in the U.S.
Yeah.
than anything else? It's guns, and they refuse to address guns.
Yep.
I like it. Literally, the logic blows my mind.
And it's where I think they're on track to having again another record, mass shooting situation.
It's
Recently, there was over the weekend there was a mass shooting at a Sweet 16 party.
This is insane
Yeah.
to me. It's like and Jon Stewart made such a good point in that thing where he was like, at what point, because the Republicans keep saying more guns make this country safe.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like, at what point do we hit the curve when that becomes a reality?
Never.
It's never going to happen.
Goddamn. I know. It's so fucking frustrating.
It's just like, when you have the evidence there and it's so blatantly fucking obvious and everything is telling you this is an issue.
Yeah.
And you refuse to accept it.
Yeah.
And you focus on things that have no proof or clinical anything to show that it has any harm to children.
I feel like they're focusing on the wrong thing on purpose. Like we always talk about this, but there's always some obsession with something that's so inconsequential.
It's because they're trying to distract the masses from focusing on what really matters.
A real issue.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about Sam Smith and his fucking concert when literally over the weekend there was a black kid that was shot because he rang the door at the wrong doorbell. I think he lived. I think he's alive.
Yeah.
But this fucking like teenager, and he looks like a teenager, and he got shot.
Don't you think that's going to do more damage to that poor kid than a drag queen?
But instead of that, we're focusing on drag queens.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Or like
so
Sam Smith
annoying.
performances or any of this other stuff. And like,
yeah.
Like also there's been a lot of stuff in the news lately about like trans
it's
women.
everywhere. It's everywhere. And I'm like, literally, why do you care?
I know. I'm like,
I just don't get it. I'm like, get a life. Seriously, get a life.
I really just don't care either. Like I'm like, I honestly, literally, that group of individuals, they are doing no harm. Like
they're just whatever.
Exactly. I haven't heard of any drag queens. I mean, I could be wrong, but I haven't heard of any drag queens shooting up a school.
Right. Well, there was a situation a few weeks ago where there was a mass shooting. I can't remember where, but it was like a trans man. Trans woman.
Okay.
And then, of course, the Republicans freaked the fuck out because it was a trans person. And this was the only time when they were like, oh, we should maybe like have laws against trans people buying guns because they're obviously mentally unstable. I'm like, well, where was this topic when literally almost all mass shootings are done by non-trans men?
I know. And the crazy thing is, another thing too, though, is in the States, it's like, it's relatively easy to get a gun. So if you're all of a sudden be like, oh, they're mentally unstable, well, maybe there should be checks and registration
they only talk
required.
about it. And I'm not saying it's okay for that trans person to do that.
Definitely not.
But like, you only talk about it when it's a trans person. Like, come the fuck on.
I know.
Like, we need to talk about it every single fucking time.
Exactly. And look at oh my God, guys.
I know. It makes me so
it's
mad.
just like, I'm wondering how many times I'm going to have to hit my head against this brick wall before like somebody wakes the fuck up.
Oh my God. Honestly, it's never gonna happen.
I know. It's so. It does really like. The more we talk about it, and the more, and we've been literally talking about this for like 3 years.
It's so stupid.
Nothing changes.
Next story.
Oh, God.
What other doomsday story do we have? We got to talk about this.
Oh, God.
You guys, I got some controversial opinions, but please hear me out. We're going to talk about the Dalai Lama. Okay? So this story broke. Mm-hmm. It actually broke last week.
Yep.
But we didn't talk about it last week because I didn't know much. I didn't want to like dive into it when I didn't know anything.
Like know too much about it.
Exactly. Because if you guys didn't know, so Dalai Lama is now in hot water. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we all know who the Dalai Lama is. He's a spiritual leader, essentially, in Buddhism, in Tibetan Buddhism.
Yeah.
I think that's how you describe him.
How
would you describe him? He's a Tibetan religious figure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We all know who Dalai Lama is.
Yeah.
So the controversy broke last week when basically he was speaking to this young boy, okay, who's probably like 7 or 8.
Yeah. And
he basically says, "Suck my tongue," and sticks his tongue out to the little boy. Mm-hmm. Okay. That video clip went viral. Right? Because, like that sounds weird, right?
It definitely sounds weird.
Definitely sounds weird. So that went viral and everyone started basically, some people calling him predatory.
Like pedophile.
Like all kinds of things. And I was like, first of all, obviously my initial reaction, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right? Like, of course that was my initial reaction. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Right? And then, but I was like, what was your initial reaction? What the fuck? Sure.
I was just kind of like, what is going on?
Right? You're like
who? I mean,
who does that?
Regardless if it's the fucking Dalai Lama.
Yes.
Even if it's some random person's like, suck my tongue.
Yeah. So then I was same reaction.
Yeah.
But because it was a kid as well, we're like, what the hell? So he issued this apology saying like, Dalai Lama, there was a misunderstanding. Dalai Lama is very like, playful and there was no like ill intent, no blah blah blah. Okay. Anyway, people like fucking went wild. Okay. Yeah. People got fucking pissed. They're like, basically like accusing him of all kinds of things.
Yeah.
I was not okay. So I saw that and I was like, there has to be an explanation.
Yeah.
Okay. Because first of all, this shit was like in public, right? It's like he's on a stage. This shit is being filmed. He's aware it's being filmed. If he's trying to be predatory, why would he do that when it's being filmed?
On a stage.
That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
You don't got no Catholic priests doing that, on a stage. But we know what they're doing behind fucking closed doors, right? Like, you be doing that shit behind closed doors.
Because you don't want to be caught.
Exactly. So why would he? So my initial thought is like, there has to be some explanation.
There must be a reasoning
even though it's weird
behind
as fuck from our perspective. And then there was. Of course there was. So I looked into it and I was like, at first, again, I was still like, what the fuck? And everyone's talking about it. And of course I was like, oh my God, maybe it is like a really fucking fucked up situation. And then I saw this video of this like Tibetan, because Tibetans are saying, this is completely like miscommunicated basically. It's taken out of context, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw this video and he's saying, and this guy was like, he's Tibetan. So obviously he's a little bit biased. He's like Buddhist as well. And he's saying that in Tibet, first of all, that clip was like cut, right? So you don't see like the entire clip.
Right.
And if you watch the entire clip, first of all, like after he says the suck my tongue thing, the boy's like pretty close to his face. And then the Dalai Lama just kind of pulls him back. So like he doesn't actually go ahead with it, right? Like,
okay.
So it's not like he was waiting for the kid to actually do it.
The kid never put his tongue in his mouth.
Exactly. So clearly that was, he pulled back and then they were laughing, whatever.
Yeah.
People are saying the kid is uncomfortable, and I'm sure maybe the kid is uncomfortable because the kid I think was like Indian or something, like he was not Tibetan, I don't think, because they were speaking English, right? That's why he said suck my tongue. Yeah, anyways, so the Tibetan guy is explaining in this video that in Tibet it is very normal. I have to rewatch the video, but it's very normal for people to like greet each other by like sticking out your tongue. Like it's a very kind of normal, playful gesture. So the way that we see tongues is very different, okay, from the way that because we might perceive the tongue as being very sexual, right? But also we're North American and we think everything is sexual.
A toe is sexual.
Yeah, we're very like oversensitive to sexuality, okay? I think so. What do you think? Do you think that's true?
Potentially, yeah.
Yes, I think that we're also very like, we like, especially maybe in America, because people are very religious.
Yeah.
We like to like shelter kids from anything that's like remotely could potentially be sexual.
Exactly, and also I feel like we're on the end of the spectrum where it's like even a hug.
Right.
We're not that affectionate either
with
each other. We're not like like in Spain, for example.
Right, they kiss on the
each other on the cheek. Very like huggy and touchy and all this. And in North America, it's very like
Yeah, we're exactly.
Sometimes we give each other a hug when we greet, but we never kiss each other on the cheeks. Like, if you kiss, it's a sexual thing.
Exactly. So we don't, right?
Yeah.
You don't even kiss like your family or whatever.
No, like I don't kiss my parents.
Yeah, exactly. That's
It's
like not normal.
thing.
Whereas in Italy, you kiss the fucking stranger. You meet on the cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit, that was a fucking culture shock.
Yeah.
I was like, why is he kissing me on the cheek?
Like, get away.
But it's very normal and it's not sexual, right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Like, I think it's important for people to understand that there are cultural differences in the way that we perceive certain things, and some of these can appear really bad in some cultures.
Yeah.
But in other cultures, it's normal. Mm-hmm. So again, like, is it weird for North Americans to start sticking their tongue out and like greeting each other that way? But he was actually showing videos and photos of people doing this in Tibet.
Yeah.
Apparently it's very normal. And another thing that they apparently do with kids is like they'll play, like, again, they're very jokingly with their kids, and they'll say things like, and I can't remember why they do this. It's like when a kid asks for something, the adult will say, oh, well, let me give you my ear, let me give you my hand, and then when you have nothing left, like, I guess I only have my tongue left, you can like take my tongue or eat. Apparently the right saying is like eat my tongue, but there's no like direct translation or something along those lines. And obviously Dalai Lama is not, like, his first language is not English.
Yeah.
So I think there was some lost in translation.
Yeah.
And he probably used the wrong word.
Yeah.
That's my guess. So anyway, long story short, I don't personally think, and I know there's still gonna be people in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay? But like, I think it's, we need to be a little bit. Okay, so I'm sorry guys for the bad audio for the last few seconds. We just realized that I had my mic turned off.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but we're going to continue with good audio this time.
Yeah. So what was the verdict
forgot
on
where
that?
I was at.
You were basically like summarizing
I was
the
going
Dalai
on a
Lama
rant about the
situation.
Dalai Lama, and I'm really upset because I feel like I was, really just honing in.
So your sentiment or your feeling around the whole story and stuff is there was if I'm understanding completely correctly, it's like there was some cultural things that we weren't aware of.
Yes.
Along with maybe potentially some language, using the wrong language, and wires got crossed.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Now, I don't know, right? I wasn't there, but based on what I've seen,
You weren't there to visit the Dalai Lama, Rose?
I've seen the video, okay, and I've seen not just the little cut footage, but I've seen the full thing.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if we, again, from our perspective, guys, like, remember, we are talking from our perspective. Of course, that's weird. From the North American or any other culture's perspective that doesn't do this practice or that doesn't, think that that's normal. Of course, that's going to look strange. But I would like you to, like, open your minds up a little bit and think, okay, it's probably something innocent, something it could be, right? Like, give the benefit of the doubt.
And actually, that's a really good point because there's a lot of, like, even just in language, right? There's there's expressions that you use in certain languages, and if you translate them to English, they make no fucking sense, and sometimes they can sound really nasty and stuff, and you're just like, that is dirty as hell. And kids will say it to each other.
Yeah.
But in the language, it's more innocent than once you try to directly translate it. So I think that there is some, like, leeway and stuff. And like you said, like, he didn't actually get up on stage and have a kid suck his tongue.
God, it sounds ridiculous. But that's another thing. It's like, if he was like this, if he wanted to do that, and I'm not saying, okay, I have no reason to defend the Dalai Lama, okay? He's a spiritual leader. I'm not Buddhist. I'm not spiritual.
Yeah.
No reason to defend him. So obviously, if I thought he was in the wrong, I would say it. But I just don't think so. I really don't. I think that it was, again, all of the reasons suggested. I think we're also very sensitive in North America to, we're obsessed with kids to the point where it's almost creepy. You know, like when people are just overbearingly protective almost.
Yeah. Well, like I've heard,
again, I understand why, because that clip was weird.
Yeah, but I've heard of like people like guys being like, oh, like I won't go too close to the playground by myself. Like I always have to be with somebody, and I'm like, that's such crazy because like you go to other countries and it doesn't seem to be like such an issue.
That's what I'm
Whereas
talking
here
about.
it's like even sometimes I'm like, oh, if I walk through the park and there's kids there, is someone gonna think I'm a fucking predator?
I know. See, that's the thing. This is what I mean by we're so over obsessed with being. We think everything is sexual. That's what I mean. It's like. Again, of course, like there is some reason to be worried.
Yeah.
I understand that. Okay. But also we're creating this culture where it's like, we're so hyper we think everything is like a predator and everyone is trying to kill our kids and fucking all this shit. And this actually reminds me of a story that happened, I think, a few weeks ago. So this is an example of like Americans and North Americans obsessively sexualizing everything that's not sexual.
Yeah.
So a teacher, the statue of David? The statue of Davide in Florence, or what I like to say, Firenze.
Firenze. I visited. I visited
Yes,
there.
I also visited the real statue, right?
I took a video.
God damn, that'd be illegal, Daniel.
Is it?
Yeah, the real one, right?
Yeah, it's like
the original.
It's
inside the little thing.
Oh.
Did you see the real one? You have to go inside, and it's like in this like it's like literally just like an empty room with like the statue of David.
Yeah, no, I think I did see that.
Yeah, you probably saw the real one.
Yeah.
Usually people go to Florence. If you guys don't know, this is a very famous, world famous statue.
Yeah.
World renowned statue by Leonardo da Vinci, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So very famous artist, very, very famous statue. And it is in Florence. And there's also like a lot of replicas all over Florence as well. So anyways, it is very well known. And of course, you know, Davide is very much naked because basically all Roman statues are naked as fuck.
Yep.
And that's very normal. Again, definitely not like sexual.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like he's got like a hard on or anything.
Exactly. Well, you know the interesting. Well, actually, speaking of that, I was in Valencia like a while ago in Spain.
Yeah.
And they had this series of like newer artwork and stuff, and it was like kind of these metal statues.
Okay.
But they were
Hard-ons.
Having like one person was like about to go down on the other person.
Goddamn.
Like it was very intense.
Was it out in the public?
Yes. It was just like out in the street for people to walk by.
Not that, again, maybe it's a controversial opinion, but I almost feel like we shield sex too much.
Yeah.
Anyways, but this isn't even about sex. So Statue of David, famous statue. This is a worldwide famous statue. Somewhere in the States, I'm going to have to pull up the article in a second, but somewhere in the States, a teacher got suspended or somewhat like punished for showing a picture of the Statue of David. This is what I mean. And it was in an art class.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like you guys, this is what I mean by things are not always.
This is one thing I miss about being in Europe, though, because especially like living in Spain and stuff. I feel like Spain, and I feel like Italy's a little bit like this as well.
Yes.
There's a lot more kind of like sexual freedom, if you will. Like people are just generally more open. At least this was my experience when I was there. Like, you know, even like I think Spain still has some issues with like toxic masculinity and things like that. Yeah. But like people are just like more openly having sex, like not obviously in the public, but people are not ashamed of it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a part of like, you know, like some of the teachers would like joke about it and like
having sex.
I feel like they are. Whereas we're like, oh, close the blinds.
Exactly. Like
close the doors,
and
lock
also,
the house.
Even just in like regular beaches, right? You see women just
topless.
tanning topless.
Yeah.
There's kids around, you know, like, and it's not an issue.
Because it's not overly sexualized.
Exactly. But it's like in North America, we have this weird obsession with thinking we just have to shield kids from everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let me find this article. So a parent in Tallahassee, Florida, of course, Florida. What is going on in Florida?
I don't know. Say no to gay there.
cost the charter school principal her job after complaining that one of the world's most beloved artistic masterpieces was pornographic. Oh my fucking God. If you don't know art, just say it, okay? Hope who had just stepped into her role in Tallahassee Classical School less than a year prior, announced her resignation. Blah, blah, blah. And
probably from all the pressure.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if was she the one that resigned? Hold on.
But she obviously got some complaints from parents, and then maybe that the pressure was like she caved under it and was like, I'm resigning.
Yeah, though it appears he did not specify why the principal was asked to leave, she believes it was related. Okay, so anyway, whatever. It was related to a lesson on Renaissance art. That was the class.
Yeah.
Okay, they all be naked.
I know.
Okay. The paper spoke to Mr. Bishop, who had said he did give the ultimatum to the principal. Anyway, so basically somebody got upset because they were showing, students a statue of David. Oh, is it Michelangelo? Oh, I thought it was Leonardo da Vinci.
I thought it was too.
See, this is why we got to learn about. Why do we both think it was? I
don't know.
Okay, we need to take a Renaissance art class.
Yes.
Anyway, so it was Michelangelo. Why did I think it was Da Vinci?
I don't know. I thought it was as well, though.
I always get those people mixed up.
Maybe we should take a night class, Rose.
Oh my God! Yeah,
That'd
it is.
Fun.
It was Michelangelo. I'm sorry, Michelangelo. I thought it was.
Maybe we should do one night class at like the university or something.
About art? Oh God, it's kind of boring. But you know what I noticed when I was in? Well, here's the thing. I got kind of bored because and this sounds very privileged, right? Because like I'm traveling Italy, and obviously it's like amazing, and there's so much great art. But after you see so many museums, and so many statues of naked people, you're just like, It's still nice. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe I just don't know enough about it. But, you know those people that are like appreciative of art.
Yeah.
And they're like walking around like for hours in a museum. Like, I can look at it and I think it's nice, but I'm not like emotionally moved by it, you know?
True. I mean, it depends. Like,
depends on the art though.
Yeah. Like, for example, I went to the Salvador Dali Museum in Spain, and it was like incredible.
Right.
Like, it was such an amazing, because he was like,
but it was different, I'm assuming.
Yeah. It was
That's
really
what I mean.
funky.
You know, when you look at Roman statues, they kind of all look, you know.
Careful, Rose.
Well,
we might have some art connoisseurs that listen to this podcast.
I mean, obviously, I don't know anything, okay? Because we literally thought it was Leonardo da Vinci.
What's Da Vinci famous for?
A lot of things.
Yeah.
The
but
Last
like, I mean,
Supper, fucking.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, Italians, we got it mixed up.
Yeah.
Let me see what the Da Vinci.
I still can't believe like that the teacher got under all this pressure for something that's like, that's part of history. Like, is it gonna get to the point where we can't start talking about like the Holocaust and shit because it's gonna be too triggering for kids? Like,
I think maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, that's part of our history. These are things that really happened. Like, we learned from these things. Like, I don't know.
So Leonardo da Vinci, let's do a little lesson. He was famous for, of course, the Mona Lisa.
Oh, right. The Mona Lisa. Yeah.
And didn't he do the, oh no, Michelangelo did Sistine Chapel.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord Jesus. So apparently I don't know anything about art. And
Moving
all those trips to Italy were a waste.
God damn,
so anyways.
you were too drunk all the time.
Oh, goddamn, Daniel. I'll be drunk on Italian wine. So that was the story of, hopefully I'm not canceled because I'm talking about the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, culturally, think about it. Culturally, we think the tongue is sexual.
Yeah.
But maybe in another culture, they don't think the tongue is sexual.
Yeah.
So to them, that's not a sexual act.
It's just like you said with all the art in like Italy and stuff, a lot of naked statues. It's not something that's over sexualized. It's celebrated as art.
I was going to talk about the naked statues though.
Yeah.
Why are all the dicks cut off? Do you notice that?
They're not always cut off.
Dude, they're all cut off. Have you seen? It's a thing. I was in it.
David does not have his dick cut off.
Maybe not David. Hold on. Let me look at David.
They don't. I remember seeing a lot of dick.
No, you saw the dick, but was it not cut off?
No.
Okay, so David's dick's there. Okay. It's there.
That's what they're all like.
No, trust me. Like, trust me. I've Googled this before because I was like, I was definitely in like some kind of museum.
Maybe it's from vandals.
All the dicks were cut off.
Yeah.
Hold on. Why are Roman statue dicks cut off? Let's see. See, it's a thing. Oh, ancient Greek. Maybe it's a Greek thing. Clearly, I'm very good at art, guys. So, why do so many ancient Greek statues have their penises removed? I'm in Athens on vacation and noticed that most of the male statues in the National Museum had their penises removed, like they were chopped/chipped off. The testicles are still there. Very okay. And it says, typically, if an ancient statue's penis is missing, you can blame earthquakes and or late antique Christians. To begin the former, well, okay, so earthquakes, sure, but I feel like it's more so because like it was like very specifically just that region.
I mean, an earthquake is not going to target a statue's genitals.
Just the genitals, right? So it says genitals had already been removed. Hold on. Let's see. Urban elites of the Roman Empire, the guys in other words, who ran cities and state, were predominantly Christian by the mid-5th century. These men, often educated in the best classical manner, had an ambivalent relationship with the nude statues that surrounded them. They appreciated them as artistic masterpieces and points of contact with the Christian cultural tradition they treasured. But as Christians, they were uncomfortable with the sensuality implicit in their nudity. So once again, it's a Christian issue. God damn, nobody liked the ween.
The ween.
The Christians don't like the ween.
God damn.
So anyways, David's penis is there. We've confirmed.
Yep. Intact.
But I guess it was in Greece. I guess there was like a moment where I was like walking around some kind of museum. Maybe it was this museum.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is everyone's dick cut off?
But it's weird that it would be in Greece because ancient Greece was known for like their very like
right. But maybe that was before. And then so they've created all these statues, right?
Yeah.
And then afterwards the Christians are like, fuck the dicks.
Yeah. Not literally.
Fuck the ween. Not literally.
God damn.
Anyway.
I feel like that needs to be in our intro, Rose.
Fuck the ween.
Not literally.
Anyway, that was the story of Dalai Lama. Let us know your thoughts. Did I change your mind? Okay. I'm going to find that video. Remind me, Daniel. I'm going to find that video that I watched by the Tibetan guy because it made a lot of sense.
Okay.
and I'm gonna link it in the show
Let's
notes.
do it.
So
You send me the
watch it.
video and then we'll do that.
Yeah,
Rose.
and that there's us being open-minded about the Dalai Lama.
Okay.
Goddamn Lord Jesus.
What's next on our
And
docket?
next story. Well, Daniel, you wanted to talk a little bit about Love is Blind.
Oh god damn. Okay, guys.
So yesterday
Oh, okay.
we're gonna watch the reunion.
Yeah, we're gonna watch the reunion.
Like literally today after
Yeah,
this.
we watched the wedding together.
Oh, it was so boring. We watched it in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, because Rose wanted to fast forward through everything
I mean,
because it's like it is kind of
literally
boring.
everyone fast forwarded through the fucking guys. You know how we always do like a deep dive on Love is Blind? I'm sorry, there is no deep dive in this season because it was so boring.
It was. I don't get it because it feels like it's been like taking off this season. Like everybody's like freaking out about it and all this stuff. And I'm like, this was the worst season.
It was, but I think it's always like a spectacle every time it comes out.
Yeah.
But I don't know why though this season because it was just there was just some really insufferable people.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the drama that did happen was so staged. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of it, I was just like, this doesn't even feel authentic. Like I feel like this person was only placed on the show to create drama.
Yeah,
like that one girl. I swear to God, I would put money on it that she was like contracted to come into the show.
You think
and
so?
Fuck shit up.
But then it's like, why would you want to? I feel like I wouldn't want to do that because everyone hates her now.
Yeah, but also, how much money did she make from it? Who knows, right? Like,
I don't know.
You still become famous, like, and if she had a special contract, people do crazy shit, Rose.
You're right.
Like, people will do the craziest shit
I feel
for
like
fame.
you could do crazy shit without being such a despicable human being.
Yeah, but the reason we want to talk about Love Is Blind, guys, is breaking news, guys.
Breaking news. People care so much about this fucking season.
Yeah. So I guess, well, not I guess. On Sunday,
which was yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah, they had like a live. It was going to be a live episode on Netflix.
Is it normally live? Do you know?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Like I think they were going to like stream it onto Netflix like live or something. It was the live premiere of the reunion or whatever, and literally. It was supposed to start at like 6, I think, our time, like Mountain Standard. And like it was delayed. They were having technical issues. I don't know if people were trying to stream it.
You tried to watch it.
I tried to watch it as well. I tried to watch it like later though. I was like 9 o'clock at night and it was like,
oh, and it was still not working.
Yeah, it was erroring out. It wouldn't let me watch. I was like, I gave up. I was like, it's not worth it. I was like, fuck this. But like apparently people were freaking out. Netflix issues an apology.
Oh my God.
About this and is like, we're really
need to calm the fuck down.
I know. And I'm like, are we actually doing this for Love Is Blind?
Like for this season, really?
Mind blown.
Come on, you guys. And apparently this like because so in the UK, I guess again. So me and Daniel and our other friend, we were watching this, but it's basically like we're kind of hate watching it. We're like, oh my God, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
And we're like, there's no way. Because like our friend is in the UK, and she was like, "There's no way people are gonna stay up because in the UK, 6 o'clock our time would be like what midnight or 1 o'clock or something like this. Yeah, in the morning in the UK, so it's like past midnight. It's like late. She's like, "There's no way people are gonna be like staying up to watch this thing."
Yeah.
Turns out,
shitloads of people were.
Yeah. So it made like UK news.
It was UK headlines
because people were like obviously staying up late to watch this.
Yeah, and
then
they
were pissed. I'm like, buddy, go to sleep.
I know. I'm like, it's not worth it. Like, watch it the next day.
It's like, I'm like, I don't understand why. Like, I would not be holding my breath. Like, listen, like, I get it. We love the drama, but also, you know, priorities, people.
Oh God damn! I know. I'm just like, and again, like this season itself,
it's
like
so bad. Like, it's not even entertaining to me.
No,
I mean, it's entertaining enough for us to watch it and fast forward through the wedding.
Yeah.
Also, like. The editors, I'm sorry, this season, they just, maybe it was just not interesting enough, but they just left out so many, like, or they left in so many boring moments.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I do not need to listen to this entire conversation. It is boring as all hell. And the entire wedding episode is so boring.
I know.
I'm like, nobody cares. Okay.
Like just get to the part. All we want to know is I do or I don't.
Exactly. And like, let's not pretend that, you know, we care about the romance. Okay. Like
we care about the drama.
Exactly. We do not give a shit. Do not pretend that you are anything other than a trashy television reality show. Okay. They like try to make it all, you know, romantic. Yeah. It's like such a big deal.
There's a big lead up, you know?
But yeah. Anyways, I was gonna spoil people, but I stop myself.
Were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna be like, well, this is
Don't-
the.
do
But
not-
I didn't.
do
I
not,
realized that some
Rose.
people care, and we may have to issue an apology if I spoil people's stuff.
We would. We'll have to talk
Yeah.
to Netflix and be like, we actually have to issue an
God.
apology from our podcast.
But yeah, so apparently people care that much about
Yeah.
Love Is Blind.
You know what's crazy? It's like, so Love Is Blind, the reunion, it technically happens a year after the weddings, right?
Right.
So they probably already filmed season 5.
God damn.
Because then it'll be a year later for the reunion.
Right, because it's every year.
Yeah.
Lord Jesus, I hope they got some more interesting people this time.
Oh, god damn.
Who is your favorite? Let's talk about it at least. Out of the men and out of the women.
I like Brett the most out of the guys.
He's so hot.
He's just like everything that I would want in a man. Very self-assured, confident but not arrogant, and just like a very soothing person, and just like
He's so hot.
and also just a man,
I know. I'm like, damn. God, imagine like you're on Love Is Blind, and that's what walks in through that fucking hallway.
I'll be like, yep, Love Is Blind. Sign me up. Love is so blind.
Love is so blind. As you're like, oh.
Yeah. I'm like, yep. I can agree. I'm getting married sight unseen. As they like to say in the
It's so lame.
It's so cringy.
Anyway, yeah, he's definitely the hottest.
Yeah, so I really liked Brad.
I also really like Marshall, or as I like to call him, Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Oh my goodness.
Because as soon as I was like, oh my God, he looks like he reminds me, because I was watching this with my friend, and I was like, he reminds me of like a guy from a 90s sitcom.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Like he has that like, and then the more I watch, I'm like, oh my God, he's like totally like Fresh Prince or something. Like he just has that kind of cute sort of baby face look.
And then from the ladies,
I just really didn't like any of the ladies. Really, I mean, Tiffany was fine. She was okay. Like
I didn't mind Bliss. Did
Which
you not
one?
like Bliss?
she was okay. Again, like I don't hate any of. I mean, I hate some of them.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So
Some of them I was like,
I wasn't a fan of any of them, to be honest. But here's who I didn't mind: Tiffany. I guess I didn't mind Bliss. I just found like just personal things,
Yeah.
like her voice a little annoying. But anyway, and
Chelsea.
yeah, Chelsea's okay. She's a little bit too, like I felt like she just wanted to get married.
Yeah, like really badly.
She just really wanted to get married. She just kind of, and again, it could be the editing. Okay, we don't know.
Exactly.
But she just kind of like, it felt like she was very much just pushing toward that direction.
I feel like that's all of them on the show, right? They're all there to get married.
That's true. But also, if you're a man, it's
Except
kind of
for what's her
acting
name, Jacqueline or whatever.
Oh gosh, she was my least favorite.
She was the.
Oh my God, I wanted to die. Oh, she was definitely one
She
of
was
the
up
worst.
there.
I think she was the worst.
Yeah.
I think, of course, obviously we know that the trio, that's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway.
They're all, yeah.
So yeah, that was Love Is Blind. And let me see if there's any other fast fire stories. I don't think so. Oh, I mean, again, we're going to talk about the same thing over and over again. All these fucking mass shootings.
Yeah.
And then I saw this story about how nearly 1 in 5 Americans know someone that has been killed by guns.
That's so messed
That's
up,
insane.
guys.
That's like 20%. 20% of people that know someone that's been killed, not even just been shot.
And let's talk about how many people are in the U.S. Like 330 million.
God damn.
So 20% of that.
Oh my God. Let me find this article quickly.
That is insanity to me, guys. Like I don't know how a country can continue like that.
Oh God, it is so bad. So 1 in 5 Americans. Oh, not even. Wait a second. More than half of Americans have dealt with gun violence in their personal lives. A majority of Americans have felt the long reach of the nation's gun violence epidemic in one way or another. So obviously this isn't like, I think this is just from a poll. So we can take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1 in 5 people report having a family member who was fatally shot, not even knowing someone. A family member.
That's insane.
The same share that they have been threatened with a gun. So 1 in 5 have been threatened with a gun. 1 in 6 have said they personally witnessed a shooting. No way. Now I'm starting to doubt the validity of this.
God
Jesus.
damn, it's a self-reported poll, Rose.
I know, but where was this taken? Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God damn.
Where we're going. God damn.
Yeah, we're visiting our friend in Texas.
Yeah.
We be a bit scared.
I'm scared to go. I'm like, honestly, it was funny. I was watching I think it was
did you get into a rabbit hole?
No. I was watching this TikTok, and I guess there's been like a lot of stuff going on right now. Obviously with the
so much
States.
going on.
States has been in the news a lot. We always talk about the States, but I guess it's like there was a different angle where people were talking about, they were like interviewing people.
Yeah.
And they're asking about like, and it was like Australians. I think it was in Australia, and like how travel to the US from Australia, for example.
Yeah.
I think it's like declined a little bit or something.
Oh, from Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were saying, they were like interviewing people and stuff. And like this one girl on this TikTok was like, I literally have no desire to go to the US. She's like, yeah, maybe I'll go off like once in a blue moon. But she's like, everybody that's like living there, a lot of the Australians that are living there are like moving back. And like people, there's less people like moving over
so
there.
It's getting worse, essentially.
Like, I mean, it's just crazy down there. I hope it doesn't spill up into Canada, you know?
Oh, goddamn. Canada's not doing so well either, but definitely not this bad, right?
I know. It just like scares me.
Yeah. So apparently it says, of those who live in a home with a gun, a startling 3 in 4 report at least one gun is either unlocked, loaded, or stored with ammunition. As in, it's so 3 in 4. So 75% say that at least one of their guns is basically ready for use.
It's
essentially
easy to grab and just grab and go.
So this is okay. So it's a poll or a national sample of 1,271 adults. So not a huge sample size.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, obviously.
And depending on what area they're sampling
so we
as
don't
well,
know.
right?
I think it's nationally representative sample. So I think it's all over. But that's
insane. But if you think about it, like
not that crazy.
It's not.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is wild. But if you think about it, they were saying, you know, that they have more mass shootings and gun violence incidents than days of the year. So just that alone, and that's been for consecutive years, right?
Yeah.
So just that alone, it's
It
kind of
doesn't sound that
inevitable.
crazy.
Exactly. It's kind of inevitable that everybody or so many people have been impacted in some way, shape, or form.
1 in 5
I know,
have
it's
a
insane.
family member.
Yeah, it's crazy. My own personal experience, I've only ever seen. Well, I've seen a couple guns in real life, but I've only ever had one pulled on me once, but not like directly on me. It was kind of like a weird situation.
Like you were in the vicinity.
Yes,
And
basically,
it was pulled on somebody else.
No. Basically, this guy was like chatting with me.
Right.
It was like me and these like Swedish.
This was in where?
This was in.
You were traveling South America.
Honduras. Yeah.
Honduras. Okay.
Yeah, and this guy was like chatting with us, and he was like obviously on some. He was like on some drugs or something. Like he was a bit weird.
Was he the drug dealer?
No, that was a different guy.
So guys, let's talk about how Daniel travels really safely.
Yeah.
By the way, we have some Patreon exclusives of our travel stories, and Daniel's got some juicy ones.
I got some good ones. I don't know how I'm still alive.
It's because you're a man, okay?
I know,
you're a
is
white
true.
man with privilege, okay?
God damn, if I was a woman, I would have had a lot of shit happen to me. Let me tell you. Fuck. But basically, I'm with these like Swedish guys. It's like during the day, and I had found this really cool like kind of cafe. It was like owned by this
in
family.
Honduras.
In Honduras. It was like on
which
the beach.
city?
We were on the island of Roatan.
Okay.
Which is actually quite a nice place. Like it's not like a rough area.
Yeah.
And we were walking down from our hostel to go to this like beach kind of like
with the hot Swedes.
With the hot Swedes. And so as we're walking there, this guy like starts chatting with us, and he was like obviously he was a little sketchy, and he was we'd gone for brunch, or we went to the restaurant, and we were like kind of walking on the way back, I believe, if I remember correctly. I remember walking there, coming back. I think we were coming back. And he's like, don't worry, guys. Like some parts of this area are a little bit rough, but don't worry. You guys are my friends. I got you. And then he literally pulled a gun out of his pants.
Oh my God.
And like waved it in the air. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then one of the local people were like, I don't know. His name was like, I don't know, Brian or something. They were like, Brian, leave them alone. And then
my God.
He was clearly like a local, like, I don't know. And then we all went back to the hostel. Like obviously he left, thank God. And then the Swedes, they were like freaking out. They're like, should we call our mom? Should we call our girlfriends? I was like,
oh, bless them.
And they still had like 4 more weeks on their trip. And I was like,
you calm down.
I was like, calm down. Everyone's fine. Like the guy's like harmless.
Yeah.
Like no one got shot.
Yeah.
I think if you call your family right now,
they're going to ask you to come home.
They're going to ask you to come home.
Yes.
You're going to have to cut your trip short. And they're like, yeah, that's a good point. I was like, we're all safe. If it was a different situation, I'd say yes.
Sure, of course.
Right? Like it was more of like a harmless, but like scary situation.
But it's almost like it's because obviously you're in this area that's, Honduras isn't known to be like super safe, right?
It's quite rough.
I think obviously when you're going to those places, you're probably going in with this mindset that like, oh, it's going to be potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
So to witness that, you're like, oh, fuck, shit's going to go down.
And honestly, is as sad or whatever as this is, most of my kind of scary incidents happened in Honduras. The drug dealer one, that was in Honduras as well. The gun was in Honduras. We also, we were leaving Honduras. We were going to Nicaragua at this point. And we had to, because we were staying on the island, we had to come back onto the mainland, and then we had to get down to Nicaragua. But it was the way it worked. It was like timing was weird. So we had to stay in the capital of Honduras, which is called Tegucigalpa. And it's like known as one of the most dangerous cities in the world.
Right.
Like it's crazy. I think it's like the murder capital or something. It's
God.
like it's insane. And the gang violence, the gun
It's
violence.
always the gang fucking violence.
I know. So like we were all pretty scared to stay there.
Sure.
So we literally we had taken the bus to this bus station. All of us jumped into a taxied straight to the hostel that we stayed at. Stayed one night in the hostel and then got the fuck out.
Oh God.
Like we didn't even go. That's the one city that I didn't go sightseeing in.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I didn't go. So and good or bad. Maybe I should have been a bit more like.
No. You got to be careful.
I think you do.
Yeah.
And like all the other cities, I would walk around and explore.
Yeah.
The only ones that I didn't when I was traveling in Central America were the major cities. Like
Okay.
in El Salvador, San Salvador is supposed to be really dangerous.
Like the big cities.
Yeah, Tegucigalpa, the capitals basically.
Sure.
In Nicaragua, it's I think it's Managua or something like this. And all of them, even the local people are like,
right.
Be careful where you go. Like,
yeah.
like when we were in Nicaragua and Managua, we stayed like one night, and where we were staying at the hostel, they were like, if you want to go for dinner and stuff, do not walk down the street. They're like, take a taxi, and there was like a kind of gated area.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was.
That's so sad.
It was pretty scary. Like
that's sad.
Yeah, and it's sad because that's something that the local people have to deal with all the time.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
but also you would stand out like a sore thumb.
Oh, hugely.
That's the thing. It's like, maybe for local people, it's not as
dangerous.
bad.
Yeah.
But if you look like a fucking tourist,
of course, and
you're gonna be a fucking target.
Oh, people will see you from a mile away,
Yes.
and they'll be like, "Okay, let's fuck this shit up." You know.
Oh God, it's so scary.
I know. It's actually like that was one thing. Like I had some amazing experiences in Central America, and some of the smaller cities and communities.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just incredible.
I know.
Like
and culturally, I feel like they're probably really nice people.
the people there were incredible. Like
That's
just
why it's sad.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
But like these big major cities have become like I don't know, like just the
gangs.
Yeah, and the violence and all of this stuff, and the poor people that have to live there, right? Like it's like it's shitty.
Yeah.
Like,
totally. And then like the police are corrupt in a lot of these places.
Like so
it's so sad.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole
really
South
careful.
America, Central America situation is really sad to me.
Yeah.
Because the countries are so beautiful.
They're
and
so beautiful.
there's probably so much to see, but there's so much, again, because drug war, like gangs,
but
just
also,
so many problems.
But also extreme poverty.
Extreme
Right,
poverty.
that forces people to become opportunistic.
Absolutely. So it's the whole shebang. And on that positive note,
guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's
Yes.
episode.
Once again, guys, don't forget to check out our Patreon. Again, if you want to hear all of our Patreon exclusives that are available on Patreon, there is an entire library of them.
Goddamn.
So you can listen to them. There's some travel stories. There's some fun times in there. So make sure you check that out. And again, you get every episode a week earlier than everyone else. And you get ad-free content. So make sure you check out patreon.com/thesavagepodcast and join us. And what else, Daniel?
And if you're watching this video on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. Show us some love down in the down under.
Don't be hating us. Okay?
Don't be showing us some hate. I mean, don't hate us. Also, guys, if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to hit that follow. You get updated as soon as there's a new episode that's gone live. Also, check out our Instagram at The Savage Podcast. And we got a TikTok as well. So check it out. And
join us in Thailand and Bali.
Yeah.
The links are below, guys.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.